Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 135 of the Holding Court podcast. Baseball is officially back, and we're recapping our opening series trip to Tokyo, Japan. Hear all about the games, my spicy ramen withdrawals, and hear how well I fared using my high school Japanese. All coming up right now on Holding Court.
Bum 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 bum.
What a whirlwind, but we are back in Arizona to wrap up spring training after a crazy, I guess, couple of weeks now.
Yeah, it's been a crazy month,
Yeah.
over a month. I
This
mean,
this spring is definitely unique, being split basically in half. I mean, not down the middle, but then I guess it wouldn't be half, but basically just split with the trip to Japan in the middle, and then opening up here kind of gives us a little bit more before we head to Chicago. But yeah, the last couple of weeks was a lot. It was a lot of fun, but it was a lot.
yeah, I mean, I think it was obviously a trip of a lifetime to get to go over to Japan. It's a place that neither one of us had ever been. I know it's a place that you have always wanted to go. So to get the opportunity to go over there, open the series or open the season,
Yeah.
with the Tokyo series, obviously was an unbelievable experience and awesome and something that, you know, I think we'll remember forever.
Yeah.
Um, but it didn't come without any fallout. I think obviously everything up to, the last couple games and leaving was fantastic and we had so much fun, but I definitely feel like we're paying a little bit of a price for it, especially these last 4 or 5 days trying to readjust to
Yeah.
the time change.
Well, even just getting there, like we mentioned before that we weren't able to bring Bo. We decided to get him and the dogs back to LA and be there. And so driving with our crew back to LA and then flying back here, getting everything packed. You lied to me about what time the bags were due by an hour. So I knew I had another hour. And then what happened? We were there and we had so much time. I didn't know what to do with myself. We had
First
to
of
get, what,
all,
like
I
an
didn't
hour and a
lie to
half?
you about the bags. The bags had to be there at
You
4.
said three initially, but then you laughed. So I knew it
No,
was four.
I said 4. We had to be there at 4. We got there at 3:56, by the way,
Early
early,
market.
but the bags were due at 4 and the bus wasn't until 5:30. So that was Court's like, "Wait, like we're here so early." And I'm like, "No, we're
I
not.
was like,
Like the bags
where's the
had to
bar?
be
What
here
do we
at
do?
4." Like that was the cutoff time and we barely made it. We made it. If you follow us on social, Court actually posted a video of us in the car heading over and it was like I wasn't sure if we were going to make it, but we made it. So
Wasn't it fun?
it was, yeah,
It was
it's
a
always so
thriller.
much. It's zero stress with you always.
I will say I did a good job packing. I didn't have anything extra. I honestly can say that I wore every single thing that I packed. So I packed with intention and it worked out.
Yeah, I think we both did a pretty good job packing.
Yeah. Well,
So
after the hour and a half wait, which was nice, I got to go. I was nervous because you brought me in the food room, which I always feel like I'm not supposed to be in these spaces. I'm not supposed to exist in these spaces. I'm supposed to stay in the lobby and in the parking lot. And you said it was fine. And I could go in the food room and they had Jersey Mike's and it was very lovely. And I got to meet a few of the wives before we left on the trip, which was fun. Um, you want to speak to me going in the food room? You don't think that's like an illegal thing?
no,
Or is it
that's where all
it
the
would
food
be
was. What do you
right, but it
mean?
would be if it was a regular day, I
Yeah,
would not be in the
it
food
wasn't a
room.
regular day. We were getting ready to leave for Japan, so it wasn't a regular day. All the food was in there.
It was
There
Jersey
were
Mike's day.
other wives in the food room.
I think I was the first though, and
Yeah.
then after that, which I pride myself on following all of the rules and protocol. So I didn't want to be the
You're
first.
like a selective rule follower, in my opinion. We'll just say that.
in in terms of
No, I mean,
team stuff?
majority of the time you're like,
No, I
gotta
follow
follow
rules because my
rules.
anxiety is too bad to push any boundaries and then have any fallout from that. So that's normally why I follow the rules and watch the same movies over and over again. But anyways, so we put on our sweatsuits that oh my gosh, I'm blanking. Bro Denim did for us, which was fun. And you guys had your sweatsuits on too. So it was a nice, cute little coordinated travel day. And everyone starts talking about their plan for the flight. It's when are you going to stay up and try to go against jet lag? Some girls had a jet lag app that was going to tell them when they should sleep, when they should eat, the whole deal. And let me tell you about a jet lag app. When I fall asleep, I'm going to fall asleep. And I knew I'm like a newborn baby in the car. If when the engine turns on the flight, I'm out and I have no control over that. And I think the flight was what, 11 and a half hours there? It was really
Yeah.
short.
Well, I mean, it wasn't that short, but yeah, 11 and a
Well,
half
when you
hours.
sleep through the first 6, 7 hours, it was short. So everyone said, okay,
Ooh.
you have to stay awake for the first 6 hours and then you can sleep. Right? Or no, it was, let me try to think about it because we were landing and we were
No,
trying to land
they
late.
said to sleep early and
Yeah.
then stay awake because when we were landing,
Oh,
at
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
we were landing at like
But it was
10:30
only it was
PM
supposed to
in
be,
Japan.
yeah, only sleep for a couple hours though. I think I
Right.
slept for like 6
Yeah.
and it was great. And the jet lag app meant nothing to me. And it's funny because you'd get up to go to the bathroom, you get up to get a snack or whatever, and you kind of look around the plane and the jet lag app went out the window. I don't know if anyone actually followed it, and I didn't follow up if it worked on anyone. I think jet lag, not to quote Taylor Swift in her, what was it, the playoffs last year when she ran up to Travis after they won. He's like, I can't believe you're here. I think she actually was doing a concert in Japan and she just said, jet lag is a choice. And I kind of agree with her. I think it's a choice. You can't give in. You got to kind of push through. Don't talk to me in the last 48 hours since we've been back, but,
Yeah,
or what is it, a week now? I don't even know where I'm at, but
I
the
think
whole
we
trip,
crushed it. I think it was a
we did
choice
it
in
right.
Japan.
Yes.
Like
We didn't nap.
we didn't take a single nap there.
Yeah.
We pushed through it. We were like, we're not going to do it, and we felt great.
Yeah.
And all the way up until, I mean, the whole trip actually.
Yeah.
Even coming back, I think the first day or two back here, I was like, oh, not that bad.
Kind of.
But it started to hit me a couple days
Yeah, I
ago
think
where
it's
I'm like,
also
oh
a
man,
lot of it got really hot here, and I
yeah,
think being out in the sun and the heat and the travel and all that, and I had to do the same song and dance and go back to LA and then drive back here. So it's been a lot, but yeah, I think we landed at what, around midnight, got to the hotel at 2, and the hotel was ready to party. Like we walk in and
it really was
they
full
did
bar.
the sake barrel, the ceremonial cracking of the barrel. They had a little band playing Go Cubs Go and Take Me Out to the Ball Game up on a, I don't even know how they got on this
It was like a
balcony. It was
yeah, it was crazy.
like a magic trick. And then they had this bear dressed up and taking photos, and they were ready to go. And they had a ton of food out in the lobby. Everything was just first class. And then I feel like we went to bed shortly after and then
Yeah,
kind
we
of
were
made a
out.
point to wake up early the next day. And we just decided, okay, we're on track. We're on Tokyo time. Let's go.
Yeah, I think yeah, I mean, it was an awesome welcome party. Wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
And I think I'm maybe getting ahead of your agenda
I
over
have a whole
there.
agenda.
But I think the highlight of this whole trip for you was just the utter variety and amount of mascots everywhere.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
to be
That's actually not on my list.
greeted at the hotel at whatever time it was, almost 2 AM.
It was like a fever dream to
Yeah.
just walk in and just see this giant bear just
Yeah.
moving around and
Right.
everything happening and Go Cubs Go being played on in a mystery balcony. It was like a fever dream. It was wild. And
Yeah.
I don't, yeah, no, mascot city. I like 100%. That is not on my agenda, but yes, all the mascots, Pokemon posted about it. It's a huge deal. It was great.
Yeah.
But yeah, so first day we woke up, I think it was Thursday, but it was actually still I'm all messed up. It was only
Wednesday
Wednesday
here.
back home.
Yeah.
That was, I think, what was kind of tripping me out was the time travel and being a whole day ahead. I didn't love that. It was kind of throwing me off. And I was trying to figure out when to do my bracket for March Madness. And the deadline was kind of iffy and all that. So I don't know. First day we had, was this the day we mixed up the days where we thought we didn't have anything? And then we
Well,
did? Or did you guys go to the stadium?
the first day was off and I had suit issues.
That's right.
I had suit issues and we had this event on Saturday where we were going to the embassy and had to have a suit, and I was in like full scramble mode trying to figure out
How to get a suit
how to get a
made.
suit made in Japan.
And you are not an off the rack guy. You got the juicies, you got the thighs, you have the athletic build. You can't just go off a rack and get a pair of slacks and a suit jacket. It just doesn't work. Probably the jacket.
So
not the thighs.
Before we flew out to Japan, I reached out to our girl Shelby, who helps us out with a lot of stuff. I'm like, Shelby, I have the weirdest question I might ever ask you in my whole life. She's like, okay, hold on. All right, I'm ready. Go.
I don't think it's that weird.
And I was like, I need a suit made in Japan when we get there. Pretty weird. Like,
I mean, I guess, yeah.
I was like, well, this is the hotel we're staying at in Japan. Can you call them, get a hold of concierge, and see if you can find a place for me to go first thing Thursday morning to get a suit made? It could be off the rack and whatever, hemmed and tailored or whatever, slight adjustments, whatever it has to be.
Yeah.
But I need a suit. I have to have it for the embassy. It has to be first thing Thursday morning because this party's Saturday. And she's like, okay, let me see what I can do.
Yeah.
And so that was the first thing.
That's right.
First morning was we went over to, I don't remember the name of the place.
It was called the Honkyu Men's Department Store. It's actually really nice.
It was like 6 floors.
Yeah.
It had
we were in there before it even opened.
Yeah, they didn't. Well, that was a weird thing about Japan. Like nothing opens until like 11 o'clock.
It's not an early morning
like
city.
Nothing.
Yeah.
There's some breakfast restaurants are open.
Yeah.
But like
stores.
They have normal stores over there, like Lululemons and Zara and all these other places. None of them opened until after 11 o'clock.
Like 11
it was
or
crazy.
12. Yeah.
But they let us go into this men's store, 6 floors. I met with their couple of their men's, almost like their men's warehouse type guys, and they grabbed
You're gonna like the way you look.
Yeah, grabbed a couple jackets and they threw them on and they made their little adjustments, and then it was cool. They ended up giving us a tour of the place and all the floors.
We were in the underbelly. They had they had a guy in the lower level basement, right? Like paintings, doing custom sneakers. They had someone that could turn any sneaker into cleats, which I thought was wild. Then they had a random area that was a Michael Jordan museum, basically of memorabilia, which shout out to Kourt. And then
they called it the sneaker museum.
Yes.
This whole floor.
Unfortunately, your shoe size was not available in the.
They literally had every shoe you can think of, like every Jordan.
Every
had designer shoes, like they had.
And then you're like 10 and a half, 11,
they
and
had
they were
Chuck Taylors. They had everything, and I was like, oh my gosh! And I found a pair. I'm like, oh my, these are sweet.
Yeah.
Like, can I get these in the 10 and a half? And they're like, it's only the pair that's on display for sale, and they're like.
And here's the 10 and a half section. And
it was like 3 pairs of shoes that were 10 and a halves, and everything was a size 7. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But it was cool. I mean, they had every single shoe that you could think of. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was. And then the whole shopping thing there where you can get the tax back and all that. And then you're trying to get your tax back. And
well, that was another hang up.
Yeah.
Interesting thing, because I was technically over there on a work visa.
Yeah.
And when you shop overseas, like if you go to London or Italy or any of these places, you experience
like the VAT refund.
Yeah, they do the VAT refund, and it's the same in Japan. But because of the work visa that I was on, I was ineligible for the refund, the tax refund. And so I had given them my card, they had charged my card, and then we'd gone downstairs to do this whole refund. And then they were like, oh no, you can't do it with that visa. So then we had to switch to your passport, and they canceled everything, and then they're like, okay, give me your card. You didn't even have your card.
No, just gave him the numbers.
And you're like, can I just give you the numbers? And then at first they were like, no, we can't do that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we're gonna have to go through this whole thing again. And then eventually they took but we were there for like an hour.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Just to do the refund.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. But I love a deal. So we doubled down. It was to the point we already went too far. We had to see it through. If we would have stopped halfway, it was whatever. So that kind of took up our first morning, which like obviously not an ideal way to, I mean, it was cool. It was neat, but not a way you want to spend one of your mornings you get to sightsee. So we were actually on our way after we finished the suit situation to Shibuya Crossing, which is the most traffic intersection in the world. I'm sure you've seen it in
Tokyo Drift
or a bunch of movies. It's been referenced, and we're heading there. And then we have a moment where we realize that the days were mixed up. I think you got a text saying, just a reminder, we have the welcome party at the Konda Shrine tonight. Make sure you're there at, what were the buses at, 5 or so? And I thought, oh my gosh.
This was at 3:30, by the way.
Yeah. So I actually, Seiya Suzuki's wife, Airi, had set up for all of us to wear kimono to the event, which she gave us the option. And of course I said yes, because what an honor and what a cool experience. But I had an appointment to get fitted, and they were doing hair and all of that. And my appointment was in 20 minutes from when we were realizing that. So we rushed back to the hotel and get all of that done. And I make my appointment. I was probably 10 minutes late.
You had the first appointment.
Yeah.
Which was crazy. Like,
yeah. No one knows that they shouldn't have done that for me. But then you're like, okay, there was a notice that just said, you can't be pregnant. Make sure you're comfortable with the clothes being very tight, and you will not really be able to use the restroom once you are
big problem.
Tied or wrapped in the kimono, because it's a lot of layers, and it's done obviously very well, very tight when it's done properly. Yeah. I did find a way to pee in it. I just did like a nice lift
I don't know
situation, and I didn't even ask for help, but I was determined. It was really neat. So she was set up in 2 of the rooms. We went upstairs, and you went in the first room to get your hair, and they had, I think, like, I posted a reels of it, which was really cool, but 5 different hairstyles. And I just asked, what was the most traditional one, and pick a flower and you pick ribbon. And it was so cool. They were so fast too.
I know.
Stylist, it was maybe 10 minutes. I was thinking I was gonna be sitting there for 30, 40 minutes for her to do this. And after that, then you go over to this closet and you pick the fabric that you want. I picked kind of like a greenish light blue one. And then you go in they were kind of these section, like room dividers in the room. There was 4 of us, and there was someone there that would help you get into it, because I would not have been able to figure this out on my own. I think I came back to the room in 25 minutes, and you were shocked.
It was so fast. I was like laying down, and I was trying not to nap, but I was like, all right, I'm going to lay down and relax.
Yeah.
And you came back, and I was like, what happened? Like, something must have went wrong, or something must have happened. And you're like, no, you're like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like, hair's done, makeup's done. I'm in my outfit. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. So then I just did my makeup really quick, and then we were out the door, and we made it. You wore just an outfit, like you didn't want to obviously steal the show.
Can I point something out that I don't think we talked about? Like, we had this crazy, probably not smart idea, because what happens after the fitting for my suit, we went to this ramen place. We had lunch, and then we were like, oh, we should go to Shibuya Crossing. And we're like, you know what? We just ate this ramen. Let's walk. Which, by the way, like, thinking now, like, that was insane to think we were going to walk to Shibuya Crossing after going there and coming back. Like, That would have been the longest walk on the planet. But if we didn't walk, if we had gotten an Uber and went all the way over there, you wouldn't have made it back once we
No,
realized that the party was that night. So it was like actually a good thing that we were stupid and we were like, oh, let's just walk
I like
because
walking.
we weren't that far from the hotel and we were able to get
I
back
don't
there
like
pretty
Uber.
quick.
I will say the Ubers in Tokyo were
Very nice.
even the Uber X were
Yeah.
amazing, and the ones that were the premier, very affordable, and these leather like throne, like almost recliners in
It
there.
was
They
like
were
captain's
just
chairs in the back of
yes,
the
and the
Uber. It
driver
was
would get out and they were wearing white gloves and they would
mhm.
open the door for you and it was just 5 stars all the way.
Yeah. It was nice.
So that night at the shrine, you guys were part of a couple traditional ceremonies. They did the sake barrel again, which was cool. And you guys went inside and did a little, what was it like a,
They called it a cleansing.
oh, I
Yeah.
love that. They didn't
So
allow us to get cleansed. So I'm
no, it was
impure on
cool.
the outside.
The whole team went in and it was basically a cleansing. I guess would you call it a prayer? It's not a prayer, right?
It was like a
A
ritual, I wanna
ritual.
say.
Yeah.
I don't know, I wasn't everyone was saying they were doing some form
There
of
was
like a
like
good
olive branches
love that.
involved and yeah, it was cool. It
Yeah.
was really cool.
And then we went inside after that, and there was a big party. It was a what was it, like a 260-pound tuna
It was massive.
that they were slicing up and serving right there. It was insane. I wanna say 260, maybe it was 280. It was up there.
They actually let some of the guys go up with the katana and cut it.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh my god," like Matt Boyd, I think PCA and Porter, I think were the 3 guys that did it.
Yeah.
And I was just like I the whole time, I guess the veteran in me was just thinking like, "Oh my god, watch your hands, watch your fingers, like don't slice your
I think
fingers."
everyone was thinking that. No,
Oh
it was
man.
cool.
But that fish was massive. But
Yeah.
yeah, they cut it up right there and then put out
Yeah. It was
uh
just a cool party
fresh
and for
tuna.
your teammates to host it and give us a little taste of Tokyo that first night was a really nice kickoff. I'm glad we realized the correct date before it was too late. That would
Yeah,
have been
and
really
Shota
sad.
Shota and Seiya obviously hosted it and they got on the mic and welcomed us and it was just really cool because you could see how like proud they were of their culture, of their city, of their country,
Yeah.
and to be able to have all their teammates from the states that they've come over here and had to make the huge adjustment to our culture and
Yeah.
our game, the way we play it, and our style of living, and then to have them host us over there and show us. I mean, it was a party, but it was really like so many different like Japanese traditions and
Yeah.
honors like back to back to back to back. And it was really like they were like, hey, we want to give you guys a little bit of taste of, our culture and where we come from. And you could just see it on their faces, how proud they were to have all of us there and to experience that together with them. So it was really cool.
Oh,
They
yeah.
did a really nice job
I
too.
can't even imagine how exciting that must have been for them to be able to share that and to see you guys enjoy it too and dive in. And I feel like seeing, all the girls wearing the kimonos and you guys doing the different traditions and just the joy on their faces, you could see it. And
Well, we had our jackets on too.
oh, yeah.
I can't remember what they call them
Yeah.
exactly, but,
That was a really nice
yeah,
touch
Shota and
too.
Seiya got us all these
Like the Cubs.
yeah, they were royal blue, it said Cubs and Japanese on them, and there's a name for them, and I can't think of it off
Yeah,
the
I'm
top of my
blanking on
head,
it
but,
too.
we were all wearing them, which was cool.
Well, after you that brings up a good point when you actually got in the room and you put the one on that was in the room and you posted a photo and
Oh,
you
that was the
said,
first night.
"Welcome to Tokyo." That was still
Yeah.
part of the fever dream. And then we
Yeah,
woke
yeah,
up
yeah.
to everyone sharing it and sharing
Yeah.
it and sharing it and saying,
I actually
"You're
messed
gonna
up.
regret this if you are ever a meme." And I think it's already been put into
Oh,
several
yeah.
memes.
But I
Yeah.
actually messed up because there was a sash
Yeah.
in there that I was supposed to wear, but when I opened it up, I thought it was like socks.
You
So
did
I
well
wasn't gonna
with the
put the socks on. I was like, because we were just in the room. I'm like, I'm not gonna put these socks on. But then come to find out, like it was a sash that I was supposed to wear over the
it's all
kimono, and I'm
right. You
like,
were
oh my gosh. Like
leaning in.
everyone in Japan is probably like, this guy's a moron.
No, everyone loved it. You
I
were
know.
diving right in. It was a beautiful moment.
Yeah.
So I'm just had to bring that up. And then on Friday, I believe that was the day that you went to the field and you guys had a practice.
Yep.
And so for you guys, it was an exhibition game.
No, it was just a workout, I think, the first day.
Yeah, but so like locker room and all that, like you guys were visiting team for both of the
For the
exhibition games.
workout
Is
and
that how
both
that worked?
yeah.
What was that? Is locker room different? Is it like
Very different.
same facility? I know that the clubbies do an insane job of packing up pretty much everything you need in the clubhouse. I mean, within reason, and bringing it on the road. So I know you have a lot of your similar stuff, but
So the locker room was, I mean, smaller than most of our visiting locker rooms here. It was chain like metal lockers in there. But it was nice. It wasn't like horrible in there by any means. The couple differences I think in their locker room, or one cool thing is like right behind the dugout is the training room. So the training room's like literally connected to the dugout. And then there is a smoke room in the middle of the clubhouse. My locker happened to be right next to it. And you basically go in there and flip on a switch, and it's like a air vent, and you go in this, it's like a phone booth essentially. And you go in the phone booth and you can smoke in there and it sucks all the smoke out. That's obviously different than what we have in the States. The showers were different. There were short mirrors in front of each shower and stools. And traditionally you're supposed to sit down while you shower in Japan.
Oh.
And yeah, and there's also in the shower a hot tub and a cold tub inside the shower.
Oh, wow.
Which is different.
Did you sit down in the shower?
I think I sat down for like the first 10 seconds the first day, but the rest of the time I just took normal.
Experience
Yeah,
it.
I was just like, let me see what this is about,
Yeah.
Say I did it. Check that box.
Yeah.
I sat in the hot tub a couple times.
Nice.
What else is different? Other than that, I mean, there wasn't a lot of like differences. We had a food room, we had a locker room, there was the bathroom. Obviously, the bathrooms, every toilet had a bidet, which was nice. With all the settings, it had the privacy settings. If you watch Kourtney's reel,
I think that was the funniest thing. I've obviously seen bidets, and you've had them in clubhouses for years.
Yeah,
but the feature of the running water white noise when you would get into the stall, and then the ones at the stadium had the option to crank up the volume.
Yeah.
Which it's a nice feature, I think, if you are shy. I mean, even if you're just taking a tinkle, it's nice to just have your own moment. But that was the big difference. Like the hotel had them and all that, but the big difference was that the white noise, and it was definitely like a running waterfall situation.
Right.
Yeah.
And it worked. It drowned it out.
Oh,
it drowned out the noise.
Did you guys test it out?
Well, no, I think more so than like drowning out my noise is it drowned out the noise of people around me.
Yeah. That's
while
nice.
You're going to the bathroom, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
So I think maybe it works twofold. It works both ways.
Yeah, that's fair.
But no, it was cool, and the food was insane. By the way, at the field,
yeah,
like every day they had like thinly sliced like A5 Wagyu in the food room. It was so good. There was like a giant like display of like lunch meat, and then there was always like Wagyu, chicken, shrimp. There were rolls all over the place, sushi everywhere.
Yeah.
The food was crazy good.
Yeah.
So it was cool. They had a good setup, and then that was obviously the visiting side. And then when we got to the Dodger series, we went to the home side. The home side was really nice, a lot bigger clubhouse, a lot bigger smoke room. I didn't go see the smoke room on the home side, but I heard it was like a whole hallway.
Yeah,
like you can get like 20 people in there at one time.
Jeez, a whole powwow.
But one of the cool things is all the chairs in the home locker room were all like the gaming chairs with like wheels and stuff.
Oh,
So
wow.
that part was cool. One other thing that was different. The batting cage and the bullpen were in the same like area behind the dugout. So like I don't know if you noticed this
Yeah, because we
during
couldn't see who was warming up or anything, and I was trying to figure out where it was at. And sometimes it's behind an outfield wall,
right.
and all the relief pitcher wives were always curious to know who's
But
warming
did you
up and
notice
all that.
that the relief pitchers all like came straight out of the dugout
Yeah,
to the mound?
yeah.
Because the bullpen was like behind our dugout. And when we were on the home side, the batting cage and the bullpen were in the same room. So like I was like in the cage hitting, like getting ready to pinch hit while like Brazier was warming up in the bullpen,
That's
like getting
wild.
ready to go in the game. So
Did you like it like that, or
that
you
part
didn't like
was
it?
it was just different. Like
Yeah,
it was the same for me because that's how it normally is. It's just different for the bullpen guys.
right.
But it was interesting because like there's a camera in the bullpens, so like the other team can see who's warming up. So
Oh,
like every time I would go through there and hit, like
yeah.
guys on the other team would be like, "Oh, I saw you like in the bullpen. What were you doing in the bullpen?" And I was like, "Oh, well, I was going the cage is right there to hit because on the visiting side, the cage is
Oh,
different. The cage is not in their bullpen." So,
is that weird? Well, I
yeah.
guess like I'm just thinking of different stadiums, the fans are able to see and look directly into the bullpen. So it's not like a unfair advantage. I guess I just think of like a camera on a bullpen seems kind of like you're
Well,
privy to things you shouldn't be privy to, but normally it's out in the open in the States at least.
I think it was I
Sometimes
mean,
it's even on the field in what, San Francisco
yeah,
or a
there's
few
some places.
places where they forgot it.
But I think our guys are used to it because in Wrigley, they're literally inside underneath the bleachers. Like
Yeah,
it's covered. So like the fans can't see who's warming up at Wrigley either.
right.
So, I mean, it's not that different, but they still come out of the outfield wall
Yeah.
to come in the game.
Yeah, that's
This one,
true.
you just come through the dugout.
Yeah.
So,
Well, while you were at practice, I had the craziest chance encounter. My one of my very best friends that I've known since middle school, back in Indiana, she now lives in Israel and she works for a school in their administration. And I was actually driving back to LA to get the crew back to LA. And she sent me a text and said, I'm in Tokyo for work and you have to come here. You would love it. It's the best. And I thought she was joking. And so when I ended up getting into LA, I wrote her back and said, wait, I'm actually going there in 2 days. So, like, how long are you going to be there? And she said, oh, I'm going to be here for they're 5 or 6 days. And so while you were at practice, I actually met up with my friend Tiffany and she had just given a presentation and I walked to it was right by Shibuya Crossing, so I actually made it this time. I took the train. Everyone knows I love a good public transportation system and it was seamless and fast and highly recommend. A plus, everything was clean and lovely and very on time. Unlike I think some cities are I mean, LA was always behind, I feel like
mhm.
buses, trains, and all that. But yeah, met up with her and we just kind of walked around and grabbed some lunch. And then we met up with you after your practice. You went with Pete to go try out an arcade. And so you actually got to see her too. So that was nice. But yeah, I hadn't seen her. She moved away from she actually moved out to LA a little bit after I did and then moved to Israel in I think 2013 and I had only seen her once since then. So it was crazy and the last time I saw her was actually she was in Florida, so she came to a Marlins game when you were playing there in 2021. So it had already been 4 years since I've seen her the last time. So that was such a nice surprise and it worked out perfectly with your schedule that I was able to pop over and meet up with her and catch up. And then you got to see her too. And the arcade was crazy. You guys had a lot of fun, even
Yeah.
though you got dominated by the crane game, unfortunately.
I think they're rigged
They were.
because
You could see the owners of or I don't know if it was the owners, the managers, when you guys were trying to win machine, there was a look of this isn't gonna
Like
go well. Like they're
we're
not.
busted.
Yes, like
Like we're busted.
you're climbing up an impossible mountain right now.
Like
But
full disclosure, the girl was opening the crane game and placing the stuffed animal like basically like teeter-tottering it on the hole where
yeah,
you can win, and we still didn't. It still took us like 6 tries
yeah,
to get it. So we were like, this is literally impossible. But
yeah,
eventually we got it somehow. I don't know.
yeah. It
But
was
the
fun.
arcade was cool. I've never seen so many crane games in my life, and every stuffed animal in the world that you can think of was in one of these crane games.
Yeah.
And then they had the Papa Shot, they had air hockey. We played this drum game with these professional Japanese arcade players, which was pretty cool. And then at the end of it, oh, the photo booth. We did we did this photo booth that turned me and PCA into like I don't.
You had no pores and you were like very
It turned us into like
very
J-pop stars. Like
yes, you were very pretty.
we
It
had
was
like
yeah.
eyelashes, and then you can like draw on it and stuff. So it was I don't know. We had fun with it.
Yeah.
Decking each other out. But then I think the best part, the highlight was right at the end of it when we went outside and went on the Bun Bun Bee.
Oh yeah. So I set my eyes on this ride called the Bun Bun Bee, and it was basically kind of I think it's been called Frog Hopper in the States at Six Flags or something. And you all kind of sit and then it just spins and kind of does the stomach drop thing. I believe it was for children, but I saw a few adults on there. And actually, your marketing guy from the Cubs exceeded the the
Big
height.
Jim.
Normally, you're looking to see if you reach that yardstick to see if you're tall enough to ride, but he actually was several inches over the height limit, and they said, "Absolutely not, you cannot ride this."
It
So
was
I
190
do,
centimeters, and he stood under it, and he was probably like
yeah,
194.
I believe he is owed some sort of a ride redemption down the line from
Oh
us
my
because
gosh.
I convinced him to come on this ride, and he was fired up, and then it was just ripped away in a matter of
Denied.
seconds. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that was fun.
Sorry, Big Jim.
Yeah. And then after that, we had a dinner set up. Oh, I don't even want to talk about the night before dinner. That was the real mess up of the days mixed up. I actually set up a private sushi dinner. Well, Rumi Kikuchi, your teammate, his wife in Toronto,
Yeah.
helped set up a private sushi dinner for us. Um, and it was the night of I mixed up the days. I set it up the night of the shrine and the welcome
The
party.
welcome party.
So
Yeah.
that was the true mix up. But we were able to reschedule it for after your workout, and I'm still full from that dinner. It's I don't know if it's fairly common, but it's a situation where I believe she said it was a membership normally.
Yeah.
And you go in a room and you take your shoes off, and it's basically just a counter, and it has 4 seats. And then on the other side is we had our host there that helped Rumi set it up,
Yep.
who managed the restaurants, I believe, and then just the sushi chef. And he prepared the most insane meal. I believe it was 40 courses. I don't even know. And it was basically just dealer's choice he said, "Is there anything that you don't want or you won't try?" And I said, "I'll try anything twice." And you said, "I'm a little hesitant. I've had a good uni experience, which is sea urchin. And then I've had a not so good uni experience, but if there's anywhere that I'm going to have a great one, it's going to be here." And we went down the line and everything was just insane. But towards the end, I had to tell him I'm not being rude. Everything is so good. I'm so full because I was going 1 for 1 with you.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can eat, but it was a lot and it was so good. And so I wanted to try everything. So towards the end, if it was like a roll or the sashimi with rice, he just kind of left some of the rice off or just gave me
Yeah.
the sushi, and it was so good.
The rice was hard. It was a lot of rice.
Yeah.
Because there was so much.
And then it was towards the end, we got to try, well, I've tried it before. I don't know if you had, but squid.
Yep.
That was a big hand roll.
That was the first time I did it.
That was a big hand roll. And I was so full, but again, it was so good. And then for dessert, it's a pudding that they do. And we don't do dairy, but I said, okay, we can't let that go to waste. And we did a bite and it was insane.
Just
And
like
then
whipped butter and sugar and
I
something else, right?
magic, I don't even
It
know
was
what it
so good.
was. And then they said, okay, well, you don't do dairy. So we actually picked up these strawberries
Oh my gosh, the
from this
strawberries.
small farm where this woman grows them. It ruined strawberries forever for me. I don't know what these strawberries were made of, where they were grown, what conditions, what the soil was like, whatever it was, they were insane.
They were like the
And
size of
I
your head
will
too. They were
think about them
massive.
for the rest of my life. So thank you for that. But I posted a video of the dinner and the whole experience, and it was just amazing. And
It was just crazy how they literally brought out this box that had like a glass top on it,
yeah,
and everything we were eating was like in the box. And he would just pull it out one at a time and he would like slice it like perfectly into these little thin
oh yeah,
slices and then put the rice on.
it was a whole
It
show.
was
Yeah.
it was so cool.
Yeah, and
It
then
was so
paired it
good.
with sake and just it
And
was
they never stopped pouring sake. It was
yeah,
just like sake after sake after sake. I was like,
yeah,
oh
it
my
was really
gosh.
good. It was a lot of fun, and then after that, it was back to the hotel and bed
Oh my
because
gosh,
I'm
food
like,
coma.
"Roll me out of there." We should have walked home after that, but
We wouldn't have made it.
yeah, we wouldn't have made it. We would've just had to barrel roll back, but no. Shout out. Rumi helped me actually a lot on the trip and setting up things, and I trust her with my life. She did not lead me astray in any situation. And then the following day, the next 2 days, you had exhibition games against the Tigers and the Giants.
Yep.
Got it. Ding ding. And that was an experience for me as a spectator. And I knew it was going to be cool and I knew it was going to be different. The whole stadium, it is, well, I kind of described it as it's quiet during the at bat and it kind of feels like the start of a playoff game when everyone's really nervous and the crowd's kind of still settling in and unsure. Um, but then really loud, and they had for all their home players, they had a fan section in right field, and they had a chant for every single player. And yeah, it was really cool.
They had flags. They had a whole band
Yeah.
playing drums and trumpets and everything. And we actually asked Seiya, we're like, how do they determine like the song for the player? And he said that the player kind of determines the song that he wants them to sing. So
So it's kind of like a walk up song.
yeah, and let me tell you, the atmosphere for the games against the Japanese teams was insanely different
Yeah.
than when we played the Dodgers. Like
Yeah.
the energy and the cheering and the songs and the chanting was all game nonstop. And then when we played the Dodgers, it was like they didn't have those chants and cheers.
Yeah. So it made it
So
totally different.
it was crazy though. Every fan was in their seat for every single pitch, did not get up. Like I don't think there was
Oh,
ever
it
an
was
empty seat,
a sellout, and you go on the concourse, and the concourse would be mostly empty.
but no one stood up
Yeah.
for the whole game. Even when they cheered, like, and the cheers got loud,
Yeah.
they didn't stand up. There
Yeah.
was like such a respectful, like, crowd, and it was such a like locked in, tuned in. No one missed a pitch.
Yeah.
Like when a pitch was being thrown, you could hear a pin drop in the
Mhm.
stadium, and it was a shock to me.
Yeah.
After playing in the exhibition games, I was like, okay, we're about to play this game, and Yamamoto and Roki and Otani are on the other team. Like this place is going to be crazy, and it's going to be so loud. And it was the opposite.
Yeah. I mean, there was cheering, and it
Right.
wasn't like there wasn't excitement. It was just so different. Like it
It
was
was like the
just like a
most
different style.
respectful crowd I've
Yeah.
ever played in
Not
front
that
of.
fans that are loud are disrespectful. It's just a very
No.
different, like your game experience is entirely different. I mean, I've been to games where the person in front of me stands the entire game and you're kind of like down in front and they don't care because that's their way of being into the game, which like do you, obviously. I do it
Right.
differently, but this was totally different. I actually felt bad if I ran up to get a water or get anything, that I was walking in front of people.
Right.
Because normally you're just like, oh, whatever, I'll just go up. And I was like sprinting up the stairs because, or trying to go in the breaks in between innings and all that, because I didn't want to be in front of anyone. It was definitely a different experience. And I loved that all of the concession workers going down through the stands were all female.
Mm-hmm.
So it was the beer girls, and they were so cute. And they had different outfits depending on what they were serving. And they had, beer and cocktails and all that. It was just different. And even the foul balls, I think my mom was watching on TV and they said that normally the foul balls are thrown back. Is that what
Mm-hmm.
you heard? And so obviously getting to keep them during these games was a thrill. So there was a lot of excitement for that. And the announcement over the speaker,
Watch out for foul balls.
yeah, it was every single time, which is nice to know. But
It
yeah,
was like that in batting practice, actually. Like when the Japanese teams were hitting every home run ball that went in the stands, an usher went and got it from the fan and then threw it back on the field. They weren't allowed to keep it.
yeah,
So when we were hitting and balls were going in the stands, they got to keep them. Like the fans were like losing their mind. And I remember that was kind of one of the big things in Australia in 14 when we opened there, was how excited people were over the foul balls because they got to keep them. Because in cricket, they don't get to keep the ball; they have to throw it back. So
yeah,
there was a similarity in that.
yeah. And the food, which I was excited about, there were some ballpark classics. They had hot dogs and nachos. The nachos had salsa though, and guac, and not cheese, but they had hot dogs, nachos, and then any type of Japanese food. And then there was pizza. Um, I got boba at one point, which was really good. They had like panini burgers, which were insane. And I think one day I really went through it. I had some fried chicken and french fries because it looked really good. Yeah, it was good. All the food choices were, I didn't know if they added in like the American food choices for this series, but I think it's always there. I think it's just like a classic, but that was fun to enjoy.
Like
Very tasting.
a hot dog's like a baseball tradition anywhere in the world.
Yeah. No.
So
I'm sad I didn't have one.
you should have.
I think I messed up, but it's okay.
Definitely.
I saw a lot of them being ordered, but I will say the one thing was water was very scarce. Like you could not just order a water at any of the stands. You had to find, there was like 2 vending machines on the concourse, and only one of them took a credit card. You had to have a different like tap account for the other ones, or you had to have, I don't even know if it took money or cash. Yeah, and you couldn't just order from like the beer vendors or anything if like there was just no water. You just have to drink soda or sake or Japanese whiskey.
Speaking
Water.
of scarce, you know what was scarce in that city?
What?
Trash cans.
No trash cans. Yeah, you don't.
It's the cleanest city I've ever been into. There's not a single piece of trash on the street. You don't see trash anywhere, but there's also no trash cans.
Yeah, you take it home with you.
So yeah, in Japanese culture, you take your trash home with you.
Or a lot of the restaurants or like the food stands would have their own, and you don't eat and drink while you're walking. I think that helped with the cleanliness of the city, and even the subway was in tip-top shape. But yeah, there's not a lot.
And then when you do find trash, it was separated into burnable and non-burnable. So that's how they dispose of their trash. They burn it.
Yeah. I don't know if that's the case.
It literally said on the trash can, burnable and non-burnable.
Like,
why would it say burnable if they weren't like lighting it on fire?
I don't know. I don't want to share an untrue rumor.
I'm just speculating here.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so after that, what did we have? We went to Disney. We snuck in a Disney day, which was kind of a surprise. I think that was before. Oh yeah, because for the second exhibition game, so you guys kind of traded places with the Dodgers. The first day you guys had the noon game and they had the 7 p.m. game. And then it was flip-flopped. But since you guys were using the same facilities, you weren't allowed to go in the stadium until 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock until
4 o'clock.
Oh yeah, because the game was at noon. So like after 4. And so that's pretty rare because normally during the season you're going in around noon-ish for a 7 o'clock game, but you weren't able to have access yet. So we snuck in a Disney day, and I didn't think it was possible, but I looked it up and it was really close. It was
Really
like
close.
15 minutes away from the
Yeah.
hotel and very affordable. I don't want to say cheap because it's not cheap, but um, tickets to Disneyland in LA, I want to say are way more. These were what, $50 for a
$50
ticket?
day of. We bought them day of.
Yeah, no reservations needed. We obviously didn't do fast pass or anything, but it was raining and it was chilly. I wanted to do Disney Sea, which
Really
is the
chilly.
new park. But I also am a nostalgic gal. So we picked Disneyland, Tokyo Disneyland. And yeah, it was great. A lot of the rides are the exact same. They had a few the lines that were more than 5-ish minutes, which we were short on time. Obviously, you wanted to get out of there by 1 o'clock and not, be roaming around on your feet all day. But were just the new ones, like the brand new rides that had just come out that year. So everything else, like we went on Pirates and we went on Star Tours and Haunted Mansion and a few other ones.
It's a
But
Small World.
Small World, that was cute too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just loving the nostalgia, and the merch was also really cheap. We got a bunch of stuff and it was like $100, which I feel like that's
But
one
it was cool. They had
Spirit
like
jersey
really
in the
cool
States.
merch.
And I actually saw, because once I started looking up things online to do in Tokyo, I started, your algorithm shifts. So I started seeing that families will actually find it cheaper to fly to Tokyo to go to Disney, and for a family of 4, whatever, and price it out. And the flights and the hotel and that whole situation is actually cheaper than going to LA or Florida. So
That's
found
crazy.
that very interesting. And you actually ran into a Dodger fan right when we walked in, and he pulled up his sleeve to reveal a forearm tattoo of you actually hitting a walk-off against your current team, which was a little awkward now.
Yeah.
No, that was crazy.
It was
I
cool.
was like, okay, wow. What a fan and what dedication. And then for you to see that tattoo in Tokyo for the first time was
Right.
quite a treat. So that was cool.
There was a lot of fans at Disneyland.
Yeah. Well, it makes
crazy.
sense. Like it's so easy to go and accessible, and getting there was easy, and yeah, getting in the park was fast. And their specialty there, I think they had the churros, but they had all these different popcorns.
7 different flavors of popcorn.
Yeah, and I think we did the black pepper popcorn.
I did black pepper.
It was so good. And your waterproof little carrier purse, your popcorn purse. Got to keep that. Cool. But no, that was fun. And then the next day, you had not an off day. You had to practice because it was the day before official opening day. So I did some solo exploring, took the train again. I took the train to Harajuku, which is a little neighborhood, and it's known for eclectic kind of fashion and that sort of thing. But they have this one area, street that's obviously blocked off to cars and just shops, restaurants. They had a little Fanatics pop up and a bunch of little animal cafes too, which we snuck in the Micro Pig Cafe, and I don't know why, it just made me sad. I just, like, the pigs were fine and they were cute, but I don't know, I just felt like they were so tired. And so you actually were coming from the practice and you got in late to the whatever 20-minute session I had, and I was just letting the 2 pigs sleep on me because they just needed their rest. They just seemed like they had been working very hard in this little area.
Well, they were brother and sister, and one of them had like a chomp taken out of its ear, and they're like, "Oh, they got in a fight with another one. Don't worry, it's fine." And I was just like, "Wait, like." It was sad. It wasn't as like
feel good,
cute and warm and fuzzy as you were like, "Oh, we're gonna hang out with some little baby pigs."
So I rented like a little private room, and then just thinking it would be a better experience. And everyone out in the big area seemed like they were really enjoying themselves, but I don't know, my piggies just seemed so tired. And
They
so
were
I was
so tired.
I was like, I'm happy to pay for them to just rest and enjoy themselves.
They did cuddle though. They were like
no, it was really
super
cute.
cuddly and wanted to like get up in there with you. And
yeah,
one of them really got up in there.
Yeah, one was like really trying to nestle in me, and I was like, okay, wow.
Nestle's one way to describe it.
I know, but I just was like, can I just rescue these? I feel the same way about the Central Park horses. I just want to feed them all.
It was cool though.
but yeah, so snuck in that, and we ended up going over to Shibuya Crossing, and I go to film you doing the famous crossing, and a fan from Tokyo ran up to you during, which is kind of a cool video now, because he was like, "Oh, Justin, I'm a huge
Right.
fan." But that was neat for you to be able to see that and check that box. And then we went to Adidas there
You
and
left
got to
out
see
you left out a very important stop.
that we went to McDonald's.
Yeah, and we had chicken nugs.
Yeah, because I had them the other day when I went there without you, which normally that's my thing in every country. I like to try the McNuggets
I
and I
can't
like
believe you.
to try the barbecue sauce, which they're stingy with their sauce.
They
I
only
want to
give you
say,
one?
well, they only give you one, and it's like a third of the amount that
Right.
we're getting, which they might be onto something. No extra sauces there, and it was really good. It
They
tasted like,
were so good.
yeah, they were like crispy
It
and
was like real
perfect,
chicken.
which makes you, whatever. I want to go down that road, but it was good. It was good. It was perfect. So then, of course, not to be left out, you had to go and enjoy it as well.
Right.
But it was good. I liked it. We're also leaving out the embassy party. I don't know. All my days are a blur. I should have had like a better schedule outline. But after
The tux made it.
the Tux made it, the star of the show,
Fit like a glove.
fit great.
Had a great cherry blossom pin on the
They pinned
lapel.
like a little cherry blossom on there, even though we're 2 weeks early for cherry blossom season in Tokyo. But that was really cool to go to the embassy. It felt very fancy. Everyone was dressed up and looked great. They had performances there. They had food tastings, all types of food. I feel like the food on this trip was
The food was crazy.
unbelievable. They had a little matcha cart, which was really good. An experience where you could get a fan. They would write your name on it in kanji, which was really cool, or they would do your name in kanji on a card, which was really neat. And then they also had an experience where you could get drawn as a character, which was that was the star of the party, because it was like the deli counter. You had to get a number, and we were, I don't even know, like 90 or something, and they just kept saying, "Come back, come back, come back." But
It
we
was
were
like
like,
an hour and a half wait
yeah,
to
we're like,
get our characters done.
we are not leaving until we get these characters, and they were really cute, and
Yeah.
that was such a nice touch too. I feel like everything from start to finish on the trip, the Cubs just did an amazing job. You got to chat with the commissioner a little bit at the party, which was nice to catch up. There was a lot of old teammates on this trip, I feel like, or a lot of
Yeah, MLB brought a bunch of guys
Yeah.
out. Jimmy Rollins, Jeremy Guthrie, Adam Jones, CC Sabathia was there. Saw Chris Young, Dexter Fowler.
yeah.
Who else was there? Kerry Wood was there. Ton of guys. Just it was cool.
Yeah. And then it was time
Ken Griffey Jr. was there.
He was taking photos in the camera well. That was
Yeah.
cool. Also, those seats on the field, not to be jumping around, but where you had to wear that helmet. There was one night where it was like Eddie Vedder and a couple of other guys like just sitting there wearing the baseball helmet. Yeah. It was neat. Yeah, and then it was time for opening day, which was, we had opening day in Australia, 2014, and that was an experience. And then this was just a crazy experience to be a part of and see how they did lineups and how everything on the Jumbotron was done. And like you said, just the different experience of playing in the Tokyo Dome. And it was cool. There were a lot of fans. There are a lot of fans from there. There were a lot of fans from the States. So it was a cool mix. I enjoyed it. It's wild though. I feel like jumping around from spring training to exhibition games, and then going into opening day, I don't know, it felt surreal. And then now to be back here playing exhibition games and then going into the season.
Well, it's over. The spring training
Is wrapped and opening day is Thursday. Yes. But it was wild to be like, oh, these count. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Like, at least from watching them, it was like, oh, wow. They definitely felt like playoffs. Like we're all there in our gear in our section and we were cheering loud. And yeah, it definitely felt like that atmosphere for sure. And then the morning of game 2, we wake up our last day and feel like we're in a snow globe.
It was
coming down crazy snow in the morning when we woke up and went to breakfast. I think I screamed like a kid on Christmas morning for you to come in our little living room area in the hotel room and look out the window. And it was wild.
You're from like Northwest Indiana and you've seen it snow like that before.
Yeah.
But like being from LA, I've seen snow and I've been in snow, but I've never seen snow like that. That was wild.
Yeah. No,
It was snowing so hard.
and I think every single wife on the trip, and I'm sure on your side, seeing other players on Instagram, everyone had their video and their clips of it on
No one missed
Instagram. That was on the story that morning. But yeah, I think just overall, and oh my gosh, I'm leaving out me eating my weight in ramen every single day. And even
Ramen.
the bus before the second game, they had food set up for us in the morning every day for the game. But right before I got on the bus, I made my way into a little pre-party and had my final bowl of ramen. Spicy ramen was the star of the show. I couldn't get enough. Finding all the little spots, that was cool. When we checked into the hotel, they gave you a little ramen map, and it was all the good ramen areas around the hotel. And depending on what you wanted, if you wanted pork ramen or you wanted spicy ramen, they had something for you. So it was kind of fun. And then you notice like the people kind of frequenting the same spots. You would see lines outside of restaurants, and that's how you knew it was the spot.
I feel like we could have easily got like 2 episodes to talk about it all, but
yeah, I know. I feel like I am kind of like rushing through.
We got through it all.
But you do need to rate my Nihongo, rate my Japanese on the trip. Do you because
I was impressed.
I feel like I didn't remember anything. I said I'm really good at writing it. I can still obviously remember writing katakana, hiragana. But speaking it, I mean, it's been a long time. But I do feel like kind of came back to me. And I was getting a little comfortable. And I think everyone appreciated me at least attempting it. And I was kind of surprised how far my like awareness of it got me. Like you don't like I feel like I didn't need a lot in situations. And I don't know. It just came roaring back to me. It was wild.
I think everyone was very, very impressed when you started like saying your little stuff or whatever. I mean, I don't know what you were saying. But everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, you speak Japanese?" And you were like, "Oh, a little bit. I took it in high school."
Shoto.
And it was like, "Oh man," like you could see like the shock on people's face.
Yeah. I mean, it's rare. Even like I think that's a big reason why I chose to take Japanese in high school is it was unique. I feel like most schools had Spanish, French, German, at least that was our school. And when I saw that Japanese was available, I remember going to a meeting in middle school and meeting the teacher and all of that and getting actually really excited about it because it was something different. So it came roaring back to me. I'm going to keep it on the Duolingo and try to keep it rolling and hopefully make another trip back there and get to use it again.
I wish you would be brave with the Spanish since you've done 4 years of Duolingo in Spanish now, but you still refuse to speak it to anyone. So.
I know. It's a big deal. I feel like I was more confident with the Japanese because, you know, part of taking in school, you do those in front of the classroom conversations, and I've done those run throughs before, but it's obviously different with my Spanish. I've never done that. So, but we time traveled. I will say after the game, we took off at 2 a.m. Thursday and then landed at 6:30 p.m. Wednesday. And if I think about all that and the details, it hurts my head. I don't even want to know how it happened. I feel like I blinked and the fight was over. We must have had a crazy jet stream on the way back.
It was only 9 hours. Yeah.
To me, that is wild. And we went straight.
Yeah.
Like I was trying not to look at the map because it was kind of freaking me out a little bit to just know that we're that.
For a point of reference,
big of a bird was just in the air.
When we flew to Japan, we went all the way up through Canada, around Alaska, and then all the way back down to avoid the headwinds. But when we got to go home, we flew straight across from Japan to Arizona because we had tailwinds, and it was like a 2.5 hour difference.
Yeah, no, it was wild, but what an experience. And I'm so glad I went. I do have to give a shout out to all of our marathon runners, half marathon runners and 5Kers. I did have some FOMO. Justin can tell you, I was tracking all my friends and our fundraisers, and that was tough to miss out on that. But I'll be back and running it again. The 40th running.
She was going through everyone's social, like, and seeing everyone's stories. Like
it was tough. But I know I was trying to get everyone their t-shirts on our team and everything. And it was the time change, it was wild. I think I was writing people at like 4 a.m. our time and all that. But yeah. So shout out to everyone that fundraised.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, but it was amazing. Thank you to the Cubs and everyone that planned it, MLB, everyone in between, and Tokyo for their hospitality. Everything, like I said, was just 5 stars and first class all the way through. I will be dreaming about everything and the spicy ramen for the rest
we will
of my
definitely, I'm pretty sure, be taking another trip back to Tokyo.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And if you haven't gone and it's on your bucket list, keep it on the bucket list and check that one off, because
Go to Disney.
it's an amazing city, amazing country. And, obviously I think we would like to go see more of the country if we went back.
Yeah,
so
definitely. Well, that wraps up our unique spring training with opening day on Thursday against the Diamondbacks. And then you already know I will be driving up to Chicago with my crew. Everyone is flying, but it's fine. We're taking it to the road. I will see you at Buc-ee's along the way, and I'll be sure to share all of that. But that's going to do it for today's episode. A friendly reminder to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And we have all of our episodes up on YouTube, so you can watch it if you don't want to just listen to us and you can't get enough. And as always, please leave reviews, ratings, comments, all of that. And we will talk to y'all next week with a very exciting episode that I won't spoil. But
you better subscribe. You don't want to miss next week.
I'm doing a solo one next week, guys. So don't miss it. Yeah, but we'll talk to you then.
See ya.
Bye.
Bum, 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 bum.